if you do think of like your company or whatever your efforts are holistically, if you're trying to do more than just the hobby, then it's like the whole process of it, commissions process, sketching, drafting, and then you make the thing, you take a picture of it. I have to go into Photoshop, prep all the pictures, think of the caption, how many hashtags can I put in this post, and then you post it. That's also part of the process, like the social media part. I didn't think it would get to that point to like have to plan a freaking post.
Welcome back to another episode of the Kurative Podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Sutarji, and my guest today is San Diego-based artist Ashley Marquez. Graphic designer by day, artist entrepreneur by night, under the alias Sincerely Sunshine Cat, Ashley creates bold and colorful artwork for clients all over the world. In this episode, we talk about finding time to work on your passion, even if it's just 10 or 15 minutes throughout your day, how helpful and toxic social media can be, and how you have to wear different hats doing many different things to run a successful business. Enjoy the show. Hello everyone. Before we get to the episode, I just wanted to say thank you for everyone who is watching the podcast on YouTube and listening to the episodes on all the podcast apps. There are many other ways to support the podcast. A few are to rate and write a review on iTunes. If you got value from the episode, you can share it with a friend, and you can email me at hello@kevinsutarji.com and tell me your story about which episode resonated with you. Also, when I announce my guest for the episode on Instagram and ask for questions, you can DM me your question for my guest. Lastly, you can subscribe and be part of the notification squad by opting in on getting notified on YouTube or any podcast app whenever a new episode is released. Thank you and enjoy the show. Thank you, Ashley, for coming to my podcast.
Thanks for having me, Kevin.
I know you just flew into the Bay Area for a wedding from San Diego. That's where you're living right now.
Yep.
So for the audience that don't know you, why don't you talk about yourself and kind of what do you do?
So my name's Ashley. And I currently am a full-time graphic designer and a graphic designer by day, and then by night I put on the paint, which is usually my my big ass shirt, and then everything goes with all the paint splatter and stuff.
And what kind of painting do you do?
I have to label it. I do cartoon pop art. Okay. With a mix of visionary in there. So,
for the audience that don't know, like, what is pop art, and like, why did you describe it as that?
Pop art is mostly bold, very simple, but with like popping colors. So I think that's how it got its name. I go really bold with the saturation, so that's why I use that, and cartoon pop art because I do have my 2D characters. Those are just floating in my head all the time. So, yeah.
And when did you get into art? Like, how did you know that you were really interested in art, and how did you get to what you're doing now?
I actually started off with Dragon Ball Z trace book with my cousin Josh.
Oh, cool.
And I don't know if you've done any trace book things before.
Not really.
No. So it's usually just like a book with characters in different formations or movements, and some are in battle mode, some are just standing there, and then they have other pages with background scenes like the rock formations that they had. Okay. In the show, and then you just rip off the trace paper in the back and put it on top of any character that you wanted. So you get Goku fighting over here, and then you'll get like Vegeta on the other side, and then there you can make your own battle scene, which is really cool. Oh, nice. And so that's how I got really into it, even though I didn't really make the OG thing. I just traced it. But when you're little, you're like, fuck yeah, I did that.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere.
Yeah, so I did that, and then my mom actually got me the more formal kind of drawing books, which was like draw a parrot or draw a human, like a head. Okay. But then they tell you to draw an oval, and then you draw an arc, which is where like the eyes are. You draw another arc, that's where like the nose and mouth line up. And then you draw more things, and then you erase things, and then somehow you have this magical, like, realistic thing.
Oh, so
it never worked out for me.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say that book really teaches you the basics or something.
It does. It teaches you the basics, but I think I got annoyed with the extra stuff. I just like drawing things as is, so I ended up disowning that.
Oh.
And then I just kind of look at it and draw it, and then that's it.
And how old were you when you first started doing all those trace books and everything like that?
Elementary school.
Okay.
Probably like early elementary school.
Were your parents really into art or anything?
My mom does a lot of craft things, and my dad can draw, but he doesn't do it very often. So I have some artness in my parents.
Cool.
That they gave to me.
And you've brought that interest all the way to college. And what did you study for?
I did landscape architecture.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah. So it combined my like tree huggerness with my art.
Okay.
So it was a good major for the time.
Well,
not right now.
so are you doing that right now as a full-time?
I'm not. So I'm working just full-time graphic design, and I do lots of like booklets, pamphlets, banners, social media graphics, and things like that.
Oh, cool.
So more general, but yeah, I did landscape architecture 1 year after graduating from college. So it was fun for a little while, but
yeah,
it's not my entire thing.
Was it not something that you felt, even though you were probably interested with it in college, was it something that you realized that like, oh, okay, maybe this is not exactly what I was thinking it was going to be?
Yeah, it was. I actually interned at a landscape architecture firm for 2 years, a year and a half, before Cal Poly.
Okay.
So straight out of high school, I did that in San Diego while I was doing community college. So I did that, and then went to school for landscape architecture, and then went back to the same company, and then it's like, this is not me.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes that happens, right? Like you study whatever major, and then you realize, oh, I'm not really interested, and then you kind of pivot. At least with landscape art.
Pivot's the word now. It's like clutch, and then now I'm pivot's another word that's coming out.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people are getting into that, right? Like they start to pivot because they're realizing that what they're doing now doesn't have to be what they're doing forever. Yeah. So then when you pivoted, like, you knew that you still want to do some art and like graphic design. Is that what happened?
I knew art was part of it. It had to be part of it. It's that one thing I can do that I don't care if I get sleep, or I know I've put this in my IG stories before, like, I finished this painting, I also forgot to eat lunch.
Yeah, I've definitely seen that on your like, IG story. doing it,
and you like want to finish it, and then you're done, and you're like, yeah, that took me 8 hours.
Yeah,
I should eat now.
So you're fine with like not taking breaks?
I can do no breaks, but with my schedule right now, it's just finding any time at this point. I used to do 3/12s, and that was a lot.
3/12s?
3/12s, and then I'd have 2 weekdays off, and then the 2 weekend days.
Wow.
So then I would have more time to paint, but then I realized the other day that I was getting off, I would take a whole day just to like sleep, recover.
And relax,
Yeah, so now I do...
12-hour days are long.
It's fucking long. Yeah. So I ended up doing 4/10s. That's what I'm doing right now. And then I have Fridays off. And then so I could paint on Fridays, which actually end up being cleaning days. Because I have to clean first in order to paint.
Cleaning like
just the area, desk? But then I end up doing like a purge on accident. Like, oh, there's so much shit in this drawer. Let me take everything out, see what makes me happy and what I need, and then put it back in, and then throw everything out or donate it. And then it's been like 2 hours.
You pretty much Marie Kondoing like everything on your desk.
Yeah, I've Marie Kondoed before Marie Kondo, so it's like that pattern. So now Fridays end up being cleaning days, and then I can paint on the weekend. But there's a lot of weddings, guys. A lot of weddings happening.
So you can't do that as often.
Yeah, sometimes I can't paint for the week. It'll be like 10, 15, 30 minutes after work, but there's dog dinner, shower,
Yeah,
sleep. So life has to happen.
After work, like there's not much to do. You don't have enough time to do anything. So then even with the 10-15 minutes, you're actually painting and trying to do small things. Is it for like a bigger project, or is it just, practicing to make sure that you're, doing some artwork that you enjoy right after work?
It depends. I try and do I enjoy artwork part and during break times at work. So I'll do like a 10-minute sketch break. Okay. And I'll do that, and then that way at least I'm like getting something on paper. Yeah. And it's not like floating in my brain and I forget it. So I like that part. And then at home it's either doing like the small commissions or a really big one and just like keep chugging as much as I want to just like kill it. Just finish it. Yeah. And then move on to the next one. It's not feasible right now, so do what I can.
Yeah, and I've seen on your IG stories that you've done a little bit of doodling like on napkins and stuff like that. Are you fine with?
I just did a napkin.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you just like do art a little bit like on any material?
Anything. Like if I had a pen, which I always have a pen now, I try and keep my pen. If this was like a bar, I would just draw on the coaster and then keep the coaster. And then tape it in my sketchbook so that I can at least have the draft going on and then like carry it out on the page. And
what do you do with the sketchbook? Do you periodically look through it and just like kind of get inspiration or I don't
know? It helps to keep the drafts going, and then it helps to filter the sucky ones from the good ones. Like the good ones, I'm like, I have to paint this.
Okay.
Like, I have to paint that one. Cool. And then some of them are just drafts for commissions. So like the one that you had, I had to do some drafts first because some ideas just don't really like, the composition doesn't turn out well. You start with an idea and you're like, it's a little meh. And then you get to the next one or the third one or the fourth one and you're like, that one's good and that one's good. So so that's the sketchbook is just an everything. Okay. I heard, what did they say? It was like a tool shed. It's a tool shed for your ideas.
Okay. So. Yeah, because it's like those people who have little notebooks that they bring in their pockets and then they like write down whatever notes and whatever ideas that they come up with. I do that with like Evernote because I use...
What's Evernote? I've heard of it.
It's like note-taking app. And
it's an app?
Yeah. So you can have it on like iPhone or Android and then you have it on the computer and it syncs with like every device. So if you type something like on your phone, like, oh, I have this idea of like how to make my podcast better. Yeah. And then it'll sync to like the servers and then you can get it on your laptop and like continue on with that idea. It's like, people are using that to write little reminders, write notes about like things that they think about but want to get back to it later. So it's like that's your version of a notepad, but you like draw on whatever you want and then just put it in a sketchbook.
I need like to know that I'm holding the pen that's making contact with the paper.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah. So do you ever do digital like drawings on your phone or anything like that? Like, do you have a stylus?
I have an iPad.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so Mikey got me an iPad like 2 Christmases ago. And I got into like the digital graphics a little too much. And then I don't know if you've seen my REM piece. It's like the all black one with the closed eyes with the rainbow, like the jet ones that are going downward.
Right.
So that one started off on the iPad and I was like, I have to paint this. And I started painting it. And I was like, this is really hard. Yeah. I penciled it in and then it looked really cool. And I started painting and then it looked really cool. And then I was like, I'm doing it. I'm painting it. And then it took a little while to start it. And then I got so intimidated by it. That was like my first big mental block was I can't fucking finish this painting because it's too intimidating to even like get the paint on my paintbrush. It was weird.
So how did you get past that intimidation?
It was like 8 months later.
Whoa.
It took a long time. And then I did an IG story because people on IG are awesome. even though social media is both like good and bad.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
you get a lot of good too.
yeah,
And so
you have a lot of supporters, especially
Yeah.
from your friends and people
Yeah.
who follow you and stuff like that.
all
So
around
that's cool.
the world, there's so many cool people out there.
Yeah.
And so I ended up doing an IG story, the question box thingy.
Mm,
And
yeah.
then I just said, like, how do you get out of your like painter's block? And people were responding and they were like, just leave it. Leave it there. You'll come back to it eventually when the time is right. And some people would say to like draw or sketch to get like your ideas flowing, because I wasn't doing it that at the time. I don't know, just other ideas, but it was really supportive. And then I was like, I'm gonna do it. So I got the canvas, put it on my desk, and then just started painting again. And then I finished it, and I was like, I finished it. This is sick. Yeah.
So you did the opposite of what people were saying, and then you actually finished it that way.
Like I started sketching, and then I was like thinking about it. It was in the corner of my room.
Okay.
So I kind of had to look at it all the time.
Yeah.
Unfinished. And so
For how long? Like, how long did it take for you to like put it aside and then think about it and then come back to it to finish it?
Start to finish was 9 months.
Okay.
So I probably started it and painted for 2 to 3 days, and then got scared of it.
And then the 8 months happened.
Yeah, then that happened, and then probably took another 2 to 3 days again. But it's my favorite piece right now.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah.
I mean, so I feel like, you know, those kind of situations might actually happen a lot more often. I don't know if it happened more than once to you, but I feel like when it comes to videos, I have to do that where I have to maybe stop working on it, sleep for the night, and then like come back and wake up and just work on it afterwards.
Yeah.
I feel like I needed a break every time I had
No.
I get stuck. It's like a writer's block.
Creative people need breaks.
Yeah.
Every single being needs a fucking break.
Right? Yeah. I agree.
From anything. Yeah.
And that's what vacation is for. That's what like
Yeah.
doing other things, right? Even if you're passionate about art or whatever you're passionate about, like you still need a break from that. You need to like talk to other people not related to work or something like that.
Yeah. Anything. Just sometimes, you're just like, please don't talk to me about painting.
Yeah. So what do you do then to take a break?
I go get coffee with my girlfriends.
Nice.
That's like my thing that I do. And I have 3 of my really good girlfriends, and sometimes they're in town, sometimes they're not in town, but then coffee dates are also really, really good to do. And I think it's just with anyone, like you said, doing anything that's unrelated.
Yeah.
Going to the beach is nice.
Okay. Yeah, in San Diego, there's a ton of beaches.
Yeah.
That's cool. So then when you go out and get coffee, like, is that kind of like the time to just relax and just, I don't know, is that like a ritual that it's always coffee?
No, not really. It's just, it's not specifically coffee. It's just, anything that's not painting or thinking about painting.
Okay.
Yeah.
The reason I ask is because like when I have a ritual, I'm like very precise. So like in the morning.
Okay. What's your ritual?
In my morning, like I'll get ready at a specific order. So like, brushing my teeth. Oh, contacts first. Brushing my teeth.
I have contacts too. Okay.
Shaving, and then like do my hair and change and stuff. And I have to make coffee. Like that's why I ask, because like I love coffee.
Yeah, I know.
And so I mean, I've made videos about coffee so many times, and I love making coffee, and I'm still learning how to do it, but that's my ritual. It's like I have to do it, and then like I wake up actually more from making coffee, smelling it, and it's like very precise on how I get ready in the morning.
Yeah.
And if I don't have time to make coffee, I kind of get thrown off.
Oh my God. Are you ever thinking about getting a pet? Like a dog? Because we were talking about cats and dogs.
Yeah, I don't think I can handle having a pet.
I was gonna say your routine's gonna be shit.
Yeah, I know. I mean, that's like that for like taking care of anyone, right? Kids, pets.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of work that needs to be done for like taking care of pets, taking care of like I love dogs.
Yeah.
I love playing with them, but then when it comes to taking care of them, oh man, I don't know.
Can
I
you
don't
have it
trust
back?
myself.
I just want to pet it.
Yeah.
Okay, take it back
It's like
now.
being the uncle, for all the niece and nephews.
Yeah.
You're just playing with them, and then
Okay,
when
go
they
back
cry,
to your mom. You're annoying.
Exactly. That's how I feel right now.
Got it.
But
Okay.
yeah, I'm very precise about my like rituals. I'm trying to be more lenient, obviously, because I don't want something to really like mess up the way I spend the rest of my day.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I was asking about, whether it's like coffee is the thing that really only gets you to relax and stuff.
No, it's just an example. Just going out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how do you stay motivated to keep doing art, especially if you're doing it like every day, maybe even for 10 to 15 minutes? Because sometimes for me after work, I'm just like so tired. And I know it might be a good idea to like do a little bit here and there.
Yeah.
But like sometimes just like I don't want to do it for another 2 days, and then I'm behind, especially with these podcasts because they're weekly.
My God. Yeah, no, I understand because I have a lot of commissions. I
Yeah.
love all you guys. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, so all the deadlines, right? All the
Yeah,
deadlines that
yeah,
come up
yeah.
and stuff. Like, how do you make sure that you're motivated enough to do it on time versus like getting really late? Or are you pretty bad at it as well?
Well, okay, so I had my art show, I had a booth at a brewing company.
Yeah.
And that was really cool. But then after that, my mom got into the car accident, and then after
That's right.
that, then we had the wedding.
Yes.
So then everybody was at the
Your friend's
wedding.
wedding.
That was 7 days.
Yeah.
And then you come back, and then it's like, okay, take care of mom again.
Mm-hmm.
And then, oh, fuck, I have all these commissions. But
Yeah.
luckily, most of the people had the whole, like, I just love whatever you do. Take your time. And I really appreciate that. But then I also don't want to, like, abuse it.
Right.
Because then it's like, okay, I've been waiting for my painting, or they forget about it, and then it's like, oh shit, I ordered something from you. So it was a lot of circumstances, and then it was like, oh cool, I should catch up now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're still trying to be professional about it as much as possible.
Yeah. So it's I have a note list on my note app thing on my phone. And so I have person's name, the quantity, the details they want in it, maybe colors, and then the deadline. And the only deadline that I had was one of my little's friend's birthday. So that was a deadline.
Oh, for sure.
I made that deadline, but everything else, if they're saying like take your time, and every single person has take your time, I do it by when they asked me. So I'm finishing up one from a while ago, but we're doing a swap, so I'm excited for that. It's with another artist.
Oh, that's very cool.
And then I have shoes coming up. I have Drew's shoes. I have Air Force Ones, and I'm excited
That you're going to paint on?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Oh my gosh, I've been excited for this project, but then, yeah, it's like in the commission line, and there's a lot of commissions. It's overwhelming, and I want to do them all at once.
Yeah.
I want to like sleep and paint at the same time, but I can't.
I wish, like, that would be ideal for sure. Like, edit videos at the same time I'm sleeping, at the same time I'm doing work, for sure.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. So then when it comes to, like, clients, if you start getting a bunch of orders, are you accepting all of them, or do you, like, stop it at some point?
Okay. So I just saw, she is on IG, and I forgot her handle, but she does furniture. She does custom furniture, and she legit made a note. She typed it out, and it was basically a note saying, I love everyone. Thank you so much for your support. I'm going to stop doing custom orders because I've been wanting to do all of these things that I've just her own ideas of her custom furniture pieces. So then she wrote that note, and I mean, everyone else was supportive of it. Like, yes, do your thing. That's the whole point. Do whatever you want to do. So she said that. And then I have another podcast that I listen to with yours. It's like
yes, thank you.
weekly podcasts. But
Appreciate
it's an art one. And they were saying, one of them was saying that they had commissions too. But then they got lost in the whole like ideas that they had that were really strong that they wanted to carry out, but then commissions came first.
Right.
So then you kind of lose the momentum. You're like, cool, I'm gonna do it. And then I think it's like commission momentum versus like original piece momentum.
Yeah.
They work in very different ways. And I think the original momentum, like the ideas that you come up with personally, it's like, give me a whole night and I'll make 5 pieces kind of thing,
right.
Yeah,
it's
like that kind of there's just a drive that it's so sparked and so big, and you're just like diabolical. Like, yeah.
I actually know another artist. I like saw her work from many years ago, and she her IG handles Le Petit Elephant. Have you heard of her?
No.
Okay, she does like these cute artwork. Like she does it on, you know, like cards and like postcards or whatever, and other things. And she has this like line on her IG that says like, "Oh, no custom orders," and people still buy her stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I think like she's always creating new stuff. Like you were saying, like she has all these ideas that she's putting in, you know, on paper essentially. Yeah. And then people are still buying her stuff. So I think at first, maybe if you want to get your name out there, just like do custom work, but then you have there's that point where like people will just buy your stuff no matter what, right? So that makes sense.
I think I'm getting to that point, but I haven't said it yet.
Yeah.
Like scared to, because it's really fun. Like every single commission is challenging in its own way, and I wouldn't have done it that piece if it weren't for that person asking for it. I have gotten a lot of pet requests, and it's a challenge in itself to turn the pet into a duty character and then paint it. And usually they're for badge reels, which are the size of a nickel.
Oh wow,
that's my canvas.
That's so tiny.
And so I have this little paintbrush tip, and I think it has like 10 bristles on it.
Yeah.
And I'm there with my face like on my desk, just like trying to paint this little thing. And then you're done and you're like, wow, it's the duty version of your pet.
Yeah.
And it's really cool. It's a challenge in itself. So that's why I do like commissions. So that's why I don't want to like cut them, but maybe take a pause at some point.
For sure.
Yeah.
So what mediums do you do your painting on? So I know you do the original canvas and you do different sizes.
Yeah.
You have like these
the badge reel things.
The badge reels, yeah.
That was Kim's idea.
Oh, okay.
Kim Mario.
No. She just got married. Congratulations. Shout out to Kim and Chris. So what other mediums do you typically paint on, and what do you enjoy the most?
Canvas, I think, is my standard. I've thought about painting just anything because your canvas your canvas is anything. I could paint your laptop. That wouldn't be nice, but I could paint a cup. I could paint the microphone. Like, you could paint anything. And so that's possibilities are endless, but then the standard is the canvas. Yeah. Then I have the badge reels that come second at this point. And then I've done like the really, 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 really big stuff. The like a photo op, that thing that you stand in front of and take a picture for IG.
Oh, okay. That's nice.
Yeah.
So how do you price your work? Is it tiered based on like the size? Yeah.
So there's like Googling for 3 hours in, I don't remember, 2016. That was when it was like, oh, let me share my things. 2016, 2017. And I was Googling like, how do you price your stuff?
True. That's hard to determine.
I'm like, I don't know. Here, you can have it.
Yeah. I mean, I do
Thanks for wanting it in the first place.
Yeah, I do a lot of free work too. So I don't even know how to price my videos sometimes.
I know. And then you're going to have to Google like, how do I price myself per hour or minute in podcast terms? Yeah. Yeah. So the rule of thumb generally for canvases are like $1 per square inch. Okay. So, I don't know, 10 by 10. So that would be baseline 100. And the more in demand and the more well-known you are, then you increase. And some people can get to like $3 per square inch.
I see.
So that 10 by 10 is 300 for them. Essentially, you want to cover your materials as if you had bought them just for that. Because you're not going to get paint and then throw it all away and then get more paint. Yeah. So you want to pretend like you didn't have those brushes or that paint or that canvas in the first place. So you want to cover that and the hours and all of that stuff. But otherwise, when I started, I was just like, $10, please.
That's very low.
Salesperson is not within me at all. So that was kind of hard. And then I think it was just looking at other IG accounts and then seeing how they price it, and then see self-worth at that point in time when I didn't understand my consciousness. That's like another conversation. But that was the start. And then when I saw people buying things and it was like, okay, I can make a little more. And then I was like, oh, I'm not covering my costs at all. And which it's still not happening now. But at this point, it's like, we make art, we do these things, we make podcasts, you do something because you love it.
Yes.
And it's priceless to us. So that's why it's so hard for us to put a freaking dollar amount on it. Yeah. Like, okay, money sucks in the first place. And whoever made these pieces of paper and coins can suck it. But you have to put a price on it, and we have to eat and
for sure
live in a house and stuff. So pricing is hard. I know in the very, very beginning, it was a couple of friends that were just like, well, you do painting. Like, can I have one? Can I buy one? And that was legit, like $10, please. I just said $10. And that one got bought. And then another one, Drew, he got another one. Or that first one that he asked for. And he said, how much for this painting? And I said, I don't know how much to put on this. So that was actually the time where it was the Vegas shooting. And I don't know what. No, I do know, because it was a country one. It was a country concert, and I listen to country, so I could have been there. So anyways, I was that one, even though somehow we're all numb to shootings now, which kind of sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks. But that one hit home like really hard because of the country connection. So then I ended up just telling him, I can't afford to donate anything right now. Like, I can't go there and donate my blood. So can you just donate any amount? Like, you don't have to tell me how much you donate. Just donate something to them, to any efforts that are helping all the victims. And then I just sent him the painting. So that was the other one. Yeah. And yeah, it's just like, we love our stuff. You can't put a price on it.
So when you make something for someone, and then they don't have to give you any monetary value. It could be something different, right? Like you're swapping art with an artist and, stuff like that. So that's really cool. So like when you were thinking about your self-worth, like saying like, oh, okay, my artwork is actually good enough for people to pay for this. Like what was your head going through? Like, how did you finally realize like, okay, I should start charging? And were you at a point where you were confident about your art, or were you still not sure?
I think I'm always unsure about it, but I think at this point, since I'm already in the game, I guess, once I opened the IG account, that was just like, cool, here's my soul. Here's all my paintings. And so just seeing the feedback that everyone was giving me, and that was really surprising because at that point in time, I just didn't like IG. I didn't have an IG. I don't have a personal one.
I don't either.
I use stories are my personal things. So you'll see food and my dog and stuff in the stories. Yeah. And then all the posts have to be consistent because rules of IG.
Yeah, it's like IG algorithms and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, the algorithms. Suck.
Yeah.
I mean, okay.
I feel like that's another thing I want to talk about, because like when it comes to social media, there's so many things that like you can reach your artwork, like your artwork can reach other people around the world. That's great. Like you can communicate with your fans, your supporters. Yeah. But then there's the other side where it's like people are just going to be trolls. They give you like feedback that's like not constructive and all of that. Yeah. Have you dealt with that, and how did you like handle it?
I was that, and then I was on the other side of it. So when I started the IG account, I was basically like Googling, how do I grow my followers? And then I did the thing. You like and you comment, you go around, follow and look at the hashtags and things like that. And then you like things, you follow people. And then I started realizing like, oh, there are bots and people that buy services that follow X amount of people per day, like things per day. And then I don't know if they like do auto comments. I haven't researched that stuff, but I know there's superficial things for sure. And so I was like, fuck, I'm doing that shit. Like I'm liking things. I'm like spending hours just liking things and then following people. And then I was like, oh, I follow that person. I really like their stuff. But then they like follow back and then like all of a sudden are not following again. And I'm like, oh, these bot things or these services that do that. So now I don't even care anymore.
Yeah.
I just like things. If I do like it, I'll comment if I really, really, really want to comment. And then, I'm not trying anymore.
Yeah, no, that's
it's
fine.
just like organic growth, I guess, now, because at this point, it's like, I just want to paint.
Right.
Because if you do think of like your company or whatever your efforts are holistically, if you're trying to do more than just the hobby kind of thing, then it's like the whole process of it, commissions process, sketching, drafting, and then you make the thing, you take a picture of it, and like you prep previews. I have to go into Photoshop, prep all the pictures, think of the caption. How many hashtags can I put in this post without going over the limit and being related to what I'm posting? And then you post it. And that's also part of the process, like the social media part. I didn't think it would get to that point.
Yeah.
To like have to plan a freaking post.
Yeah. And that's like separate from painting, right?
It
like
is,
there's so much logistics.
Nothing to do with this damn painting.
I know. I feel like when it comes to video, like the video that I make, there's so much that goes around it.
Yeah.
So obviously pre-planning, like location scouting, and that's like a typical videographer, schedule.
Yeah.
But then when it comes to like, creating the trailer, like you said, posting on IG, and I like have to schedule it.
And you have to do the little like ask the person questions too.
Yeah.
So that's another thing.
Oh man.
It adds up, and you're like, wow, I spent a lot of time for this one thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely like you have to wear a ton of different hats. And that's like
all hats at once. Is that
all
book?
Hats at
that
once,
little book
sure.
when you were little? I don't know if you read it. It was like
No.
the peddler guy.
No.
He just had a whole bunch of hats on, and he would like peddle around town.
Okay. No, I haven't. I don't think I've read it.
I think the cover has him on a unicycle, like with a gajillion hats.
Oh, okay, I see. Yeah, I mean that's pretty much what we're doing, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever tried to look for like people to help you out? Because obviously you probably would rather focus on the art instead of like trying to figure out what hashtags or when to post and all that. Like, have you tried looking for people?
I have not at this point, because I'm so like anti self being into the business person, which I think we kind of are already.
Yeah,
in a way, right?
For sure.
But diving deep into business, like I'm just afraid of lots of forms, like a stack of forms of documentation. Like, this is legit my business, and these are the rules, and these are the laws, and here's the taxes and stuff like that. Like, that's all the stuff that,
yeah.
Yeah. So,
like writing SOPs. Do you know what SOPs are?
I don't even know what that is.
Standard operating procedure.
Oh, okay.
I think, yeah. So it's like what you're saying. Like,
okay,
this is how you post to make it.
This is how Kevin
way.
wakes up. Put on contacts, make coffee.
People can help me get ready.
Okay, SOP for Kevin.
Yeah.
I haven't really thought about it, because I think it's just too small right now. Mikey did help me a lot with the show. So he did like loading of all the materials, and then help with setup, and then packing it back up. That's as far as like help goes. I want to say, like, as far as a hat, like a role, like I don't have a social media person or like a photographer person that like, okay, I'm done, here's my painting.
Right.
Thanks, that's your part in this process. Mikey's my boyfriend, by the way.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, we didn't mention that,
Nope.
but we just kept saying Mikey.
He helps me take pictures. So if there's no hand, it might either be like my Amazon clippy thing with the bendy wire that holds your phone.
Yeah.
Or he's taking a picture of me. So
okay. And then do you do the videos too then? Do you edit, you take the videos and edit it and stuff?
Yeah,
that's something that
iMovie.
Yeah. Okay, that's good enough.
Yeah. There's a component in landscape architecture to present your design to a client. It might have been a walkthrough of a rendering through your landscape design. That's how you can sell it to your client in one way, or as a proposal. So that was part of it. So I had to learn iMovie, and we did some in Photoshop too.
Okay.
So
cool.
Yeah.
I've seen your time lapse of like doing some art piece and stuff. So that's really cool. I think like, there if you want to create a business out of your hobby or whatever, you have to learn a lot of different things, and like
Yep.
at least enough to
Make it look like you know what you're doing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Going to like creating IG stories, and then like for my YouTube, I have to create a thumbnail. So I had to learn Illustrator just to like add text, just like very simply add text on a photo. And I was like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And I had to create a logo for like my podcast, and then I didn't know how to.
Oh, your turtle with the film reel.
No, I'm not even using that one. It's because that doesn't say Kurative Podcast.
Oh God. Okay, got it.
Yeah,
that's the Kura production.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh.
So like
I
had to go from scratch, right? Start from scratch, and I feel like I had to learn enough just to get the job done. And the logo is pretty lame. It's just like text the Kurative Podcast, but
you have something and
it
people
works.
Can identify with it, and you're good.
Yeah, and even like for one of the requirements, like you have to make it by 1400 pixel by 1400 pixel, so it's like big enough or something. And I was like, damn it, I don't even know how to scale this thing like without looking shitty, right?
Yeah.
Like the pixels are too big or something. So I had to ask people just like, okay, how do I do this?
Yeah.
Or Google it. And then
Google's a good friend.
Yeah, for sure.
And YouTube.
I learned all these things like I learned everything from YouTube, especially my video stuff, and I learned everything from Google as well. Yeah. But you gotta do what you gotta do just to get the job done, right?
And then you move on.
Yeah, for sure. Do you feel like a lot of things that you're doing might be a little bit overhead? Do you think it might be overhead doing all these things like posting, creating time lapse, or do you think it actually helps you with your business and everything like that?
Well, you called it my business. Well,
it is. I mean, you're making money off of it, so I would call it a business.
I guess
More than me.
I think everything's related. Everything is exposure, and it's different ways. I found that sometimes when I have time lapses or videos in a post, I'll have X amount of views, but then my IG stories, they have twice as many views. So that might be a better vehicle for some things. Yep. Like if I want to say that this piece is on sale, or like, listen to this podcast, I really like it, I'll put it up there because I know I can reach more people. Okay. Which didn't make sense at the time when I observed that. Yeah. Like, oh, okay, well, I'll just put all my shit up there then in the stories. So then I ended up doing that. So it goes to show you that what you think is the solid core of your IG account, which is the post. And sometimes the photos work better in the posts, and then the videos work better for me personally up in the stories.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. You're using data to validate whether what you're doing is worth it or not. Yeah, I feel like that's something that not a lot of people do, and they're doing things that are pretty much overhead. So at least for me, even just posting on IG, because I can automate posting on YouTube, like I can schedule it.
Can you?
It's pretty nice. And then you can schedule posting an IG post, and but you can't schedule posting IGTV. And I looked at my views, and like I'm not getting anything from IGTV. It's more on like the IG posts and clicking on like through my IG stories and
Data
stuff.
point Spotify, and then when I go home, then I can watch it on YouTube. So I do that one and that one. Those are my two because I like seeing the people. Yeah. So those are my data points for you.
Yeah, that's actually another thing I was wondering, because are people watching my YouTube? And I see it on the views. Like they're a lot less than just
the
through
listen count.
Yeah, through Spotify or through Apple Podcasts.
At work
or during the car ride.
Yeah. So it's like success here, but if you put it into like the perspective of the working person. And let's say you throw a child in there or a dog, and then they go home and then like they can't watch the YouTube video, then that's why like the audio is heavier, which is more listens on that. So I think it's still success.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I think I still had to figure out like, how do I get people to watch the video? make it like maybe I need to make smaller trailers to get people interested in watching the video, and that's what I'm actually trying to do. So like on IG, I post the when I announce the new episode, I like post a little trailer.
Yeah.
But I want to
like
post
them a lot.
Oh, thanks. I want to post like more like snippets of like what people are saying, and just to get them interested, get them to see the character of like my guests.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important because like people like to put a face behind the voice sometimes. And plus I like video, so I feel like I gotta do it.
Yeah. Have you done, okay, so football, you get like the football player, and then the commentators will be like, this is so-and-so. They went to this college. Oh, by the way, his mom's here. And then they zoom into the mom. But like that scene before, it's the guy going this or like smirking, or like if for basketball, they're like dribbling or like spinning the ball. Like if you have a pre-post that's like that, and then you have your little trailer or some sort of thing like that. I don't know.
That'd be really cool. I have
with like 2 lines about them.
Yeah. I have a ton of ideas on how to promote it, but obviously because I'm doing it by myself, it's hard to do it.
That's your sketchbook.
That's my sketchbook. That is
You're
my
like,
sketchbook.
I have 50 ideas. I want to do them all, but I'm me.
Exactly. It's like I'm doing it by myself.
Yeah.
So you have, like, for me, I have to prioritize what I think is useful and that's doable.
Yeah.
So, if I'm going to make a trailer, like I can't do too much, a lot of different things with the trailer. I just have to make it simple for now.
Yeah. And then once you're in your flow too, you're like, cool, I know this is how the intro is. I know I need like X amount of seconds of this, like this part of the song.
Yeah.
And then
that's
you
exactly
just overlay and then replace the clip, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how it happens at work too. I have my templates. Yeah. It works.
Yeah. I what I really want to do is just add like text, because when people are on their IG, sometimes they watch a video, they don't play the audio, right?
Oh, like YouTube does that when it's on your feed.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So
sometimes
like I want to add text. Exactly.
Other things, but like that would get me interested. Like, oh, she's talking about that. Oh, she's talking about that. Oh, wow. Okay, click.
Right.
Yeah.
Because if they're scrolling, sometimes they don't have the audio, so then they'll see the text.
Yeah.
And like I've gotten feedback about doing that, but I haven't had time.
That's a whole nother layer.
Yeah. So
it's literally another layer.
It is for sure.
In the file.
It is. So I don't know. I gotta figure out a way to kind of automate that, and it might just be like doing a lot of things a lot earlier, like editing my videos earlier. Sometimes I edit the night before.
Or you could give yourself slack.
Yeah,
I mean, like I know you're trying to do every Thursday or Wednesday. Every Wednesday.
I do it every week. Yeah.
I actually rely on that for my my brain space to be cleared, so I can do my work and then just listen to you guys talk on Wednesdays. I know it's coming.
Yeah.
So I know, but the world's not going to end if you don't make a Wednesday. Like if it's every other Wednesday, that's cool too.
That I've gotten that feedback too. Like why don't you do it every other week and stuff like that. I kind of know myself that if I take a long break, I'm not going to. And
you're still going to do it the night before.
Yeah, well, that's
like
for
college.
Sure. No, that's for sure. Yeah. I've heard a lot of I've read a lot of books and watched a lot of videos about people. If you set yourself a deadline and you set yourself a long deadline versus a short deadline, you're still going to do it. Potentially, if you're a procrastinator, you're going to do it the night before. Yeah. So you might as well set it to a short deadline. But then the other thing for me is like, I feel like if I want to be serious about it, I have to do it weekly, or else I'm going to just trail off and like say, oh, got it, I'm not going to do it. Yeah. So this is like one of the very few things where I've actually like tried to commit full on.
Gotcha.
It's definitely
You're
hard.
Leveling up.
Trying to for myself. Like this is a challenge for myself. Like committing to something, like even if I were to do like badminton or something, like do the sport, but I wasn't super serious where I was like training every week or twice a week, 3 times a week. So this is something that I'm like kind of challenging myself to say, okay, am I really serious about this? They want to do more.
That's really good. You can't tell like the Simpsons to be like, can you, I mean, you guys are working really hard, go ahead and take 2 weeks off.
Yeah.
Like I want my episode now.
Yeah. I mean, they're in a whole nother level, but yeah, I kind of want to get into that like mindset where it's like people are hopefully just waiting for my episode every week. But if I do miss it, I'd better like not be too serious about it. And I think that's something that I agree with you, because there was one time I was ready to release and I released it.
Yeah.
And then I had to pull it back because I made a wrong intro. And like,
Meh.
no, it was
Like really bad. Like
I gave credit. I gave credit to the guest when I shouldn't have. And like it was a big enough deal that I was like, okay, I should pull it back.
Okay.
Yeah, and I guess I told myself, I guess I lied to myself, like, okay, this is fine, but my body like shut down. I got sick. I felt sick. It was crazy.
You're like, no, I can't.
Yeah. So
okay.
I need to be more like calm about it and like be more like.
You said you were breathing.
Trying to.
Conscious breathing.
Trying to. Yeah. I'm trying to be more calm about things. I don't know. How do you deal with like not getting stressed out?
I just learned how not to get stressed out because of Oprah.
What did she say?
She has her own podcast, and
yeah, I've heard that.
She had Eckhart Tolle on it, and they were both talking about this thing, and it happened to be like an autoplay thing, and I had these kinds of thoughts that were parallel to what they were talking about. I'll tell you in a little bit, but I thought it was like, it's not your ordinary conversation topic. Like, you don't really talk about this kind of stuff. So that when I heard it and it was freaking Oprah talking about it, and then Eckhart Tolle, and they were just going over his book, A New Earth. And so they were talking about consciousness. And I can tell you if you want to know about consciousness, but once they started talking about that, I was like, that's what I'm thinking too. And it's Oprah, so I'm not weird. So then I just kept listening and listening. And it was actually a podcast series that they were doing. So they went chapter by chapter. And I was just like, next one, please, next cool. one. And then I was just like, oh, cool, I'm normal. And they've expanded what my thoughts were and developed them more. And so that I had a better understanding of my thoughts and myself and my consciousness. So that was nice. And then it allows me to become calm when things suck.
So if you don't mind me asking, what were your thoughts that kind of got you to feel, I don't know, feel some sort of anxiety or something?
Yeah. So that did get me to feel anxiety, or that didn't?
That did.
That did.
And then that didn't as well.
Yeah. The anxiety and just like life things. I'm in traffic. This sucks. I need to get home right now and feed the dog. Like mini anxiety things like that, or like a deadline at work and it's like, wow, I've been working really hard and I'm way behind. And then you have like stress, but then like you finish it and it's like, cool, it's another day. Why was I stressed out for? I finished it. So like things like that. So that's those were the triggers for the most part. And then the reverse is, how do I get myself to calm back down and get grounded again, was connecting back to consciousness. So that's like a whole, do I tell you about it?
Sure.
So I can talk about consciousness by talking about it backwards.
Okay.
So everyone has an ego. If you've heard of that, if you took any psych classes.
I did, but I don't remember anything. So
there's the ego that they teach you in psych class, but then there's also this ego, which is, I think it's parasitic. So there's the ego that wants more and more. There's the ego that attaches itself to external things. So I can say, this is my cup. And then if you take my cup, like pretend we're two now. So you take my cup and now I'm like bawling because I attached myself to that's my cup. So I have this is mine. And then you take it and I feel like I'm lost. So the ego is part of that. The ego is also part of qualities that you attribute yourself to. So I'm Filipino. I can take like a 23andMe or whatever the genetic results,
the testing,
and then find that maybe I'm not, or maybe I'm not this or that, and then I'm lost. Or like I have my hair, which is asymmetrical. What happens if this side burns off for some reason and now it's even? Like, do I lose myself because of that quality that I lost? That's also part of the ego.
Oh, interesting.
So the ego, it feeds on things. It feeds on, I want more. It also does like this thing where it self-combusts. So what if I'm the car person? I'm that girl with the car. My ego says that I am that car. So somebody jacks my car, I'm also lost, and then I can get depressed or suicidal or something. That's the ego basically self-combusting, because you're like, cool, I'm the ego. Wait, like human body thing, I need to still be alive because I want to be alive too. So that's the ego. It's unconscious. So let's say you have your car. Take away the car. That's your materials. Take away your qualities. Like if I'm always a funny person, what if I'm not funny today? Drop that. And then you have this meat body. And so in this meat body, you have this brain. The brain produces thoughts. So you drop your meat body. So those are 3 layers already gone.
Right.
So then you have your thoughts. And then once you identify that there's an awareness or a consciousness that's behind or within those thoughts, that's your consciousness.
Okay.
I don't know if you followed that.
No, I did.
It's like you have
That's
to drop
very
in,
deep.
drop in,
Yeah.
drop in, drop, and then it's like, what is the essence of you? Is your consciousness, and
Right.
we're all connected with this consciousness, but we all have this ego. I mean, I have an ego too. Like,
Yeah.
I like to look good when I need to look good and not care when I don't need to care.
Right.
But that consciousness, when you settle into it, I feel like it's a void of emptiness and fullness at the same time. It's like this, I kind of want to parallel it to that, what is it? The flotation tanks?
Oh, yeah,
Where it's
yeah.
like you feel like you're just like floating in nothing.
Like there's no sound, there's no
Yeah, it's
light or
just
anything.
like-
It's just dark and you're just floating in the water.
Yeah, you're in the now. So what Eckhart Tolle was saying was that there's no past, there's no present, there's just the now. I know Kristen was talking about that too, like be in the now. So you're in the now, and so that means there's no wrongdoings to you in the past. You're not looking to like do something in the next hour or the next 5 minutes. It's like my purpose right now with my consciousness is to be here with you and to talk to you about what we like to do.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that just going through those layers, like
Yeah.
ripping out those like little layers is gonna
Like an
calm you
onion.
down.
Yeah. Yeah. So then once you get to the middle, it's just like, I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
And then
interesting.
the more you do that, the quicker it happens. It's like exercising and then getting more and more one with your consciousness. So now I don't road rage as much, but some people know I do have a lot of road rage. But I think that's just the ego talking a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then like I can see that definitely happening if like you know, something bad happens, like oh, you're late for work, you're in traffic. I feel like, you know, if something more tragic happens, it's like it'll definitely be harder, but it seems to be like you seem to be able to use that for any situation, right?
Yeah.
Because
anything, everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's very interesting.
It was funny though, because I had found the podcast and then listened to that whole series. And then my mom had the car accident, and then I was like, oh fuck, breathe. So I got the call from like one of our neighbors. We live in an apartment complex, and they like told me what happened. I was like, fuck. And then so I just breathe, breathe, and then breathe. And then after that, it's just, hey, Kayla, it was my little sister, like, let's go. Mikey, let's go. This is what happened. We're going to go. And then go there, turn on big sister, turn on older daughter mode, and then like carry it out. And then mom comes home and she has the cast on, but like breathing and then connecting with my consciousness. It's knowing like this had to happen because I had to grow, my mom had to grow, like our family had to grow together. I mean, it brought us together a little bit more, but that was so cool that happened. So thank you, podcasts, for existing.
Yeah.
That's
very cool.
It was good timing. Otherwise I would have been like, I don't know what to do. I need to cry a lot right now.
Freaking out,
and
yeah.
I can't help my mom because I'm too busy crying. Yeah. So.
Yeah. And I feel like if you try to express that in your artwork, that'd be pretty cool. Because I feel like you've done something of the sort, right?
I did some sketches that were like pretty, I think you responded, you're like, you look really stressed out.
Yeah.
It was a duty character that was like, ah, shit. And then it was like holding we just got our dog at the time, I think. So we had like a little dog house and the dog, and then there's like dollar bills going that way.
Right.
It's just like all the stress is just like, it's all on top of me and it's crushing me and it hurts. That was also pre-consciousness awareness. So
Okay.
At this point, it's like getting more and more easy to just say like, things are happening and that's life.
Have you ever done some artwork where you kind of started to meditate and think about that consciousness as well?
I have a lot in my sketchbook right now, but I connected with my consciousness after the commissions happened.
Okay.
So I haven't gotten them out yet, but they're in my sketchbook and I've been sharing some of them, like the plane ride ones. So it's been cool to be able to at least have them out on something, because while I'm reading the book, A New Earth from Tolle, I'm underlining things and then I have to drop the book, pick up the sketchbook, and then draw whatever that made me think about, and then drop that, and then go back to the book. So so I have things that are on solid paper pen versus brain cells. So that's as far as I got right now.
Oh, that's a great start. At least you're ready to actually make some artwork to share it.
I'm so excited to do these pieces.
I think people would really love to hear the story behind like all the paintings that you do relating to like finding your self-conscious, and that would be really cool. I'm excited for that.
That one's that's where the captions come into play. That's when it's not like, I don't care how many hashtags there are on here. This is what this piece means. Same thing with your episode. You take the most that you got out of it, or that highlight, and then you write about it. And then that's your tidbit for your caption.
And I definitely self-reflect on like those kind of episodes, right? And whatever you make, you have your own self-reflection, and you get whatever value you get from it versus like what the actual artwork is about, right? That's really cool. There's a lot of like blood, sweat, tears, and like stories behind art. And I feel like people need to express it more, whether it's through a caption, behind the scenes, stuff like that. So that's really cool.
Have you done it behind the scenes?
I have not.
I've always wanted to see it.
Of like my podcast, or just like doing videos?
Well, anything, like having a person follow you around. Like, this is Satarji doing his next coffee video, but it's like following you around. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I feel like that'd be something I would love to watch myself, but I feel like I'm personally not ready for someone to record me. Like I'm even though I tell people like in front of the camera, if I'm recording someone, like, oh, don't worry about the camera, don't worry about this big ass lens that's pointing at you. But if it were me, I'd be pretty nervous.
Well, you're already getting over the fact that you're hearing your own voice, so I'm proud of you.
I feel like those kind of things is like I have to get over it, because I want to do what I want to do, right? Like for the podcast, having the lens pointing at me, hearing my own voice. It's like I'm doing this not because I want to hear my voice or see myself, but I want to share other people's stories, and then this is like one of the better ways to do it, in my opinion. So
that's your greater purpose, your understanding.
So if I'm forced to like be in front of the camera for like a behind the scenes, I'll definitely let you know, and when I post it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Link me.
Yeah, for sure. That's I'll put that as like a thing, like a goal that I want to do.
Cool. I know. Don't make it too long though. Then it's like,
it will be short.
Too many.
Yeah, it'll definitely be short. Cool.
Yeah.
So I think we talked a lot of things. I really wanted to go over the IG questions that a few people asked.
Cool.
Yeah. So
really, you like just posted.
Well, and then these are our friends, and they
cool.
So you'll hear a lot of usernames, IG handles that you might know.
Okay. Cool.
So the first one is from Merrick and Raisu. They have like a very similar question, so I grouped them together.
Hi.
What was the inspiration for your character Duty, and what made you choose that design over other drafts? Like maybe you've iterated for that character.
Duty made its debut in middle school when I didn't have a name, because in middle school we had the binders that had the clear fronts. And so you had to have the most notes, the most pictures with your friends. The when you go to the mall, you pose with your friends. And then I had the most drawings. So it was like, ooh, what new drawing do you have in your binder? And so Duty happened to like make its debut on my binder. I think it just went straight up like as is.
Wow.
And then it didn't even resurface until college.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
I would think that it kind of changed from your perspective as an elementary, or you said elementary or middle school?
Middle school. Yeah.
From middle school to now.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems that that's still your favorite design,
Yeah,
or maybe it's
just
nostalgic.
That too.
Yeah.
I think it was also like I really suck at drawing things to make it look like this cup with this shadow and this
Okay.
like reflection. That is so hard. Props to anybody that can do that. I tried doing it and then it just looks really messy. And I usually end up with a whole bunch of lead on my hand. So gave up on realistic things and then just already knew that cartoons were my thing. And so, yeah, just kept it from my binder. I think I found it again because I like to keep my drawings. And now I lost it, so it's okay.
It's okay. You have a lot more artwork now to refer to.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's just one of those.
Yeah, I really like, I mean, a lot of people obviously like your style, so
Yeah.
that's cool. Cool. LY, he asks, what's the inspiration behind the vibrant color palette?
My favorite color is the rainbow. That is a color. I'm demanding it to be a color.
Okay.
My favorite color, 1 is the rainbow and 2 is black and gold. So I don't know if that counts because that's like 10 colors. But having that be my favorite color, I wanted to incorporate everything. And I really like how it just represents a lot of emotions and a lot of so many vibes and all the colors. Like if you have one solo, it speaks to that color and how we are with our psychology and how our brain works.
Right.
But if you throw them all together, it's like everybody can relate to it, I feel like. So vibrant colors because I like all of them. And I really, really, really like saturation. I like when you can't see the canvas. So if I get one layer on and I can see my strokes still there, I have to add more and more paint until it's a panel. As close as I can get to it to be a solid color block.
Right.
So bold colors and full saturation as much as possible.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And so this kind of goes to the next question by Marquez and Karina Graham. Do you experiment with how to put the colors, or is it more of just like, okay, I'm just going to use whatever color I feel like, and then, or, you know, do you use like, okay, I know red works with, I don't even know what red works with.
Complementary is green.
Okay, green.
Anti-Christmas, yeah.
Okay, so like, do you think about, okay, red works with green, or do you just like say, I'm just going to put whatever color I feel?
It
Like, what is your thought
depends.
process on colors?
Yeah, so it depends. Definitely mood. I'll also look at all of my bottles. So I actually flip them all upside down in a drawer so I can see it versus all the white caps.
Oh, that makes sense. Oh, that's
Yeah,
smart.
so then I just like look at them all and I'm like, that one. Okay, what goes well with the one in my hand? This one. And maybe I'll go to 3 or 5. I like odd numbers. So I'll do 3 color palette or 5 color palette. And then it also depends on the person. If they wanted a key color, then I'll try and find colors to accentuate that color. Or they might give me a full-on palette, and then that works too. I don't have to think about the colors.
Right.
I can also use the iPad to take a picture of my sketch, and then I'll use Illustrator, which is completely different from the desktop version, by the way.
Oh.
And it's basically like a freehand thing. So then I'll just color in the colors that I have in my bottles on the iPad.
Very cool.
And then see if it looks good. Because sometimes it sucks. Like the orange is too close to the other orange.
Yeah.
So I want to delete it and then put it over there and then throw a navy instead.
Kind of going back to like doing your sketches, right? And then putting it in like in a notebook and just seeing like what works, what doesn't work in your sketchbook. Okay, that's cool. So you're still doing that in a different way.
Yeah, in a different way. And it helps. I've done it before where I just throw down the colors And then it takes a lot longer to erase a panel, which is white all over that color. And then you put your other color.
Oh, okay.
And then it gets higher. You can tell it's a little thicker than the other ones. Yeah.
Okay.
So sometimes the iPad is like, it's really, really helpful.
That's smart.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Kuma Girl asks, any tips on finding your style? So, you know, a lot of people are inspired. The way I find my style is like I've watched people who I'm inspired with.
Yeah.
And then I kind of add my own flavors, add my own interests, and maybe I mesh, multiple people's styles.
Yeah.
How did you find your style, and how would you recommend people find theirs?
Finding your style. I think just keep making things, and you'll make things and you'll make things. And I made a lot of stuff I didn't like. Going back home and during college, during the winter breaks or the summer breaks, I'll just paint stuff, which look nothing like my stuff right now. I actually started off doing abstract painting. When I first had a paintbrush in my hand, I was like, cool, this stroke means this, and this represents this, and that dot and splatter over there represents that. So like that was actually what I started off as, which is not what I am now.
Yeah.
And you can do more and more things, and then all of a sudden you're like, ooh, that one's good. And then you do another version of that or something related to that, and you're like, ooh, that's good again. And you keep doing it, and you're like, oh, that's my style then. So I think if you just make enough things, you'll find it, or it'll find you. I'm not sure if that you've seen that in your videos, like your very first video you've made, and then the second and the third and the 10th one, and you're like, hey, that 5th video was cool. I like how I did those transitions and that filter. And then you carry that over to your 20th one, and that's what you run with. Yeah. And you found it. So
I agree. I definitely, like, for my videos, I have things that I like the transitions, the movement, but there are things that I'm still experimenting with, like transitions and like seeing if I like it or not. So even if my videos have a sort of similar feel, they still have things that are different, and it's because I'm either trying it out or I'm learning something new. And I've heard that from a lot of people. Like I have a friend who's a music producer. Shout outs to Kevin Shecky.
Hi.
He's the one that made the theme song for this podcast.
I love it.
Yeah. He's still trying to find his genre. And he doesn't know exactly what he likes yet, so he tries different things, but he has a similar like base where it's like kind of like the chill house, and then he adds different things to see what he likes, what he doesn't like. So even though like you can hear a similar vibe from his songs, he's still trying different things. So I totally agree. I think people, if they want to find their style, they should try it out, try many things, experiment, and then see what you like, see what you don't like,
make it, make more shit. You'll find it. Are you gonna do
Inktober?
I've seen people do Inktober.
That one's crazy.
That's
I feel like
hard.
That was one every day, right?
It's one every day. I mean, I can do a doodle every day, but I think it's like, you know, that brain position where you're just like, I got assigned homework from school. Like I'm in high school and I just got homework. I don't want to do this homework. It's like one of those, like day 1 of October is this. I feel like if I actually did start doing Inktober, it would be like an I can't do it because it's been assigned to me. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's more of like you have to do it. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if I can.
Okay. Well, I mean, I was gonna say because people can learn. They can experiment.
Well, it helps you produce things, but I can say generally like goal one doodle a day. I mean, it's vague enough for me to not be anti it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, I think people can just experiment with that if they like try something out every day.
Oh no, people make a lot of good stuff, and it's like constant stuff, which actually helps your IG when you post constantly.
Every day. I know.
That takes so much
Instagram
work, guys.
Algorithm.
Yeah. Picture has to be good. Trailer. You guys know how long it takes to make a little clip? Yeah. So that's even more than just a photo. And then, but photos, sometimes it's not just I take a picture. It's like I take a picture, I edit it and do all this stuff to it. That's a whole nother project too. Yeah. So whatever people are posting, just the thing you look at, that's one whole big like project thing.
So much
then
work.
There's a caption. There's just a lot of things going on behind all these IG accounts.
I like how we're like complaining about all these things that we have to do. That's like,
no, but it's
for
challenging.
social media.
Yeah.
I mean,
okay. So if we make the video, you make the videos, I make the art. Legit, all my canvases were just leaning on each other underneath my desk. If it wasn't for social media, nobody would see it. But now I have artist friends around the world, and it's so cool.
You're seeing value from it, so
so it's good. It's just ego talking.
Yeah, I mean that's why I was laughing.
Ego.
That's why I was laughing that we were complaining about it, but we do it because we know it adds value. So yeah, gotta do what you gotta
do. Human beings. Okay.
Cool. So Kristen, now you know. Try experimenting. The last question is from Marvin Mack. What are your goals for your art career?
I just want to paint.
You just want to paint?
I just want to paint more. I think maybe I'll have more in my shop. Maybe I'll do that thing where I don't do commissions and do all like my own shit for like a few months. Yeah. And then get that out of the way and then be like, cool, I want to make stuff that you guys want me to make now. Yeah. So maybe in general, just paint more than I have been ever doing, which I hope to get to maybe painting. Just that's like my life. But I know in this societal pattern, it's very hard to do that unless you're like uber famous, and then maybe you die and then your paintings are like $1 million each. So I don't think that's gonna work, but just paint every day, paint more, maybe do more like displays. So I have something coming up in London next year, which I'm really excited for. Is November 2020. It is
that's far away, but that's
far.
Cool. That's cool. What is it?
It is the Infinity. It's a gallery in Shoreditch, London. And Shoreditch. This is, I don't even know what the hell Shoreditch was when,
it's like a bunch of art there. It's like
it's
super
like
hip.
LA Arts District, but over there.
Yeah, it's very hip. There's a lot of graffiti and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's made possible by social media. Yeah, so artist friends around the world, shout out to Shabs. I'm going to meet her one day. Next November.
Probably next year.
Yeah. But that's coming up, and I'm digging the format because it's a gallery. So gallery, it's wall space. This is your space. I get 2 meters.
Cool.
And then she said it's just really high up. So I'll get to hang things. That's cool. And then talk about it and then kind of like walk away. Versus the show that I did, which took so much extroverting. Oh my gosh. Talking to people. It was a booth. Yeah. That's why. So it was more like saleswoman, I felt like. So yeah, doing more displays in this manner, in the gallery manner, might be better for my person type of introvert.
I mean, yeah, whatever you prefer.
Yeah. So yeah, paint more and maybe show more in different mediums than social media.
Very cool. Yeah, that's exciting. Yeah. And do you have any other, I guess, plans like events coming up or anything like that? Not yet?
No. Okay. Yeah, the booths up. It just took a lot out of me. The next 2 weeks, the following 2 weeks were just like, I'm just a zombie at work, and then I go home like I don't want to touch the pencil or the pen or the canvas or the nobody talk to me, please. So it just took so much out of me. I don't know what it was.
Were you trying to get people to buy your stuff right then and there?
Well, Mikey was like, hey, there's a person. Like, go. And I'm like, hi, just let me know if you have any questions. Like that kind of thing. The more passive salesperson.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering if you were doing that or more.
I was doing that, and then also there are a lot of people that came to support, and I was very, very thankful for that. Lots of friends from from college.
Yeah.
And lots of family that came out too. And so I think hanging out with them and then them purchasing things, and then the people that I didn't know were I felt like I can tell that they were like, ooh, I want to see, but there's a lot of people.
Yeah.
So that it kind of was like a buffer from the outside, like the people that didn't know what I did.
Got it.
So I think I had to do more extroverting to go to them, like, hold on one second. Hi, do you have any questions? Like, here's my stuff. Like, here's what I'm about. That's the stuff that I couldn't do. And that was very hard.
Definitely. I think I've seen people have other people to help talk to people and like give them the basic information.
Yeah.
So maybe next event.
Mikey did that.
Yeah.
He was like, oh, this is what this is. These are this much. And and then, oh, and this, she painted all of this stuff.
Yeah.
Like, he was good at that.
That's really good.
I can't do that.
No, I think there'll be, you should get more people if, a lot of people are coming to your booth. That's great. If there was an event up here and we invite you, would you be down?
Okay.
Only if you're down.
I need to paint I have to get through all my commissions, and then I can give you all the stuff that's in my brain.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Oh, hopefully you can expect something coming up in the near future.
Cool.
Somewhere in 2020 probably.
Yay. Oh my God, 2020 is going to be a big thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Cool.
So thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me. This was awesome.
Yeah, I really had fun. I'm glad we got to catch up, and we actually got to hang out outside of like our friends' weddings and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
But you're going to a wedding tomorrow or something.
Yup.
So, yeah.
Wedding season.
Yeah. Thank you for coming. It was great.
Thank you.
Cool.
Yay. Wow.